Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Don Issue 5. So of course this is Donovan Mitchell's 5th signature shoe with Adidas, and his line has been alright, and definitely it's not my favorite shoe line for performance, just because it doesn't fit my foot well, you know. And as far as like how it's played for me, there definitely are better options in my personal opinion, but it's been like Adidas's kind of cheaper model. I don't know why Trae Young's shoe is more expensive, and also I guess Harden's, that makes sense, but Dame, he wants to keep his shoe line more on the budget side of things for his fans, which I think is dope. Maybe that's what Donovan Mitchell's doing as well. So this colorway is available, and also a team colorway like a black one and a white one is available as well. This shoe is retailing for 120 bucks. So if you guys do want to call, but try to leave in the free link in the description box. But let's get it started right off with the Tracciones, and in this colorway we have pretty much a solid like blue, right, rubber outsole, and then we have some pods, like some black rubber pods here in the forefoot and also here in the heel. So outside of that, we have herringbone pretty much, right? And the traction, how does it feel so far on my wood floors? It feels absolutely terrible. There's no bite really at all, which is weird. It like slides a little bit, right? And that worries me, you know. I guess my floors are a little bit dusty right now. There is a good amount of dog hair. My dogs have very long fur right now because it's winter. It's a little bit colder now, but still, I mean, it should be biting a little bit more, I feel like. Yeah, it's just not biting that much, right? There is a little tiny bit of a squeak, but I don't know, hopefully once I play in it and break it in, it does get better. But right now it's not seeming so good, right? So yeah, we'll have to see on the traction performance, but right now it's feeling eh. And as far as the durability goes, so we have a large herringbone, right? So from the heel to all the way to kind of like the more of the forefoot area where the ball of your foot is, the rubber is actually very hard, right? We have some very large grooves as well, but like where the pods are, it's a little bit softer of a rubber, but it still feels pretty hard. And here in the forefoot, this rubber is a little bit softer, but it feels like it'll be good for outdoor use. The rubber is hard, grooves are deep, and of course it's just herringbone, right? But yeah, the rubber compound that they're using in the Don Issue 5 does not feel too good. The Don Issue 4 was actually really nice, but it did pick up a lot of dust. So hopefully it'll be better than the 4, but it seems like right now it won't be as good as the 4. So there's the traction there. Moving on to the heel to toe transition, it does feel pretty smooth, right? So here in the heel we have a little bit of a rounded shape, right? And also we have a kind of exposed light strike midsole. We do have a little bit of a cage, it's just plastic here. So it cages the cushion a little bit more, but it's still super soft. There's still nice compression here in the heel, right? And then in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and a good amount of forefoot flex, right? It's pretty easy to flex here in the forefoot, but also we do have a midfoot shank plate, right, for torsional support, so it doesn't bend really at all here in the midfoot, which of course is a good thing if you need that. But yeah, overall heel to toe transition does feel very, very smooth. I do like how it feels. And also here in the Don Issue 4 is very nice too. We have a nice bit of flex here in the forefoot. Heel had a lot of compression, and we had a nice curved shape for the entire sole, right? So there is the heel to toe transition. Moving on to the cushioning setup, which I think is one of my favorite parts about this shoe. So we have full length light strike, right? And a light strike is pretty nice. It has a good amount of compression. It's soft. There is a nice little rebound back as well. It's not super bouncy, especially comparing to like Boom or React foam from Nike. But it has a nice little rebound back, especially comparing it to Boost. Boost is a little bit more just soft, right? And they advertise it as like energy return. It doesn't have that much energy return. I feel like light strike is a little bit bouncier. Like I mentioned before, it has a good amount of compression here in the heel, and also the step and cover is pretty nice, right? So looking into it, we have a very thin paper stock insole that Adidas usually gives us, right? So the insole kind of sucks, but underneath that, we have a pretty nice like foam strobo board, right? And it has a good amount of compression. It's pretty soft, and you can feel the light strike pretty easily right underneath your foot, right? So in my personal opinion, I would prefer like a soft mesh strobo board found in like, I don't know, the Shockwave 5 Pro, the Wow 10, right? But this is still kind of soft. It surprised me, you know what I mean? Because if you look at a lot of Adidas's kind of strobo boards, it's a lot stiffer and it's a lot more glued down. But yeah, so the step and cover is pretty nice. The court feel isn't great though, right? Especially here in the 4, it wasn't great. The 5, it's not amazing either. I would say it's a little bit worse than the average, right? So the court feel isn't the best, but you know, it's well cushioned. You know, you have good compression here in the heel. It's soft, it's comfortable, and you have pretty good step and cover. So it's a really nice cushioning setup. I wish it was a little bit lower to the ground, but it's nothing terrible. So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper, the materials are not great, right? So I guess for 120 bucks, you can't really expect that great material quality, right? But we basically just have like a synthetic material for this blue, and then we have like a mesh material for these black parts, right? So it's really stiff, right? So when you bend it, right, when you're walking and then you kind of bend obviously your forefoot and bend your toes, right here it kind of digs into the top of my foot a little bit. It's a little uncomfortable. It's not painful or anything, but it's definitely a very stiff and very rigid material. Look at this. It doesn't even give at all, you know what I mean? So it's not my favorite. You know, I prefer something softer, you know, kind of like this. The Don Issue 4 was actually pretty nice. It's soft, but also thin, and it conforms to your foot very well, and it's also supportive. So this was a great material here in the 4. In the 5, they reamped it, I guess, and made it way stiffer than I think they needed to. But I guess if you want a really supportive material, then it's a good option, right? But for me, it's you know what I mean? Hopefully it breaks in nicely. We have a lot of ventilation holes, right? Which is kind of useless because there is an underlaying material, so it's not like the ventilation is that good anyway. And then here in the toe box, like at the tip of the toe, more on like the medial side, we have the synthetic suede material or like nubuck material. And it's obviously there for, you know, toe drags. A little bit more durability is added there. Also here in the midfoot, it stays pretty stiff, right? Especially here on the medial side. So we have this more like lacing system, right? It's more just eyelets, and it's just like a different part that the laces go through. But also it is a burrito style tongue, which we haven't seen in a while. The last burrito style tongue I remember is like, I think it was a d.o.n shoe. So yeah, the burrito style tongue, if you didn't know, is a tongue that's attached to like the medial side or one side of the shoe, and it kind of wraps around, right? And that kind of wraps around your foot and gives you a little bit better fit, you know, a little bit better lockdown as well. And then at the other side of the tongue, we have an elastic band that's kind of connected to it. So that's actually really nice because that kind of stretches over your foot and it kind of like tightens around your foot as well because of the burrito style tongue. So that actually feels pretty nice. I like how it feels. There is very minimal padding here for the tongue though. And then here in the ankle area, there's very minimal padding as well, right? Here on the sides, I guess there's a little bit. Here in the back of the shoe where your Achilles is, there's very minimal padding too. And we kind of have this like tag going on, right? There's a pull tab attached to it, so it's a little bit easier to put on and slide on, I guess. But I guess that does wrap around your Achilles a little bit and add for a little bit more comfort, just like in the Harden Volume 7. But yeah, the overall material, I'm not a huge fan of it because it's so stiff, you know what I mean? I guess it is a little bit on the thicker side of things as well, but it's just so rigid right now. Hopefully it breaks in, but I don't know. I feel like it will never get as soft as maybe like a mesh or textile, especially comparing it to the D.o.n Issue 4, right? So there is the upper there. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and this shoe fits me really well. I'm surprised because Donovan Mitchell's shoes have never really fit me well. Like the 1 through 4 have been a little bit weird, you know? So my toes go very close to the edge of the shoe, right? Going true to size. So if you don't like that, then probably go up a half size, right? But for me, it's really close to the edge of the shoe, which I like. Here in the toe box, it's really snug. And this material, I don't think is gonna stretch out really at all, you know what I mean? Just because it's so stiff, you know? And also width-wise, I would say it is slightly narrow, especially when you get to the tip of the toe. And then here in the midfoot, I would say it's not super narrow. It does stay pretty, like, I guess, normal width, but it's still a nice fit for me, especially with the burrito style tongue. So it's actually a very nice fitting Donovan Mitchell shoe, which is weird because like I said, none of his shoes have really fit me very well. So I really like the fit there. And now moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, this shoe is probably gonna be very good, right? Especially for lateral containment. This upper is so rigid, so it's a very supportive upper. And also here in the forefoot, we have this, it's like a plastic kind of, what is this, like an oval shape, right? So that's coming up a little bit, acting on the sidewall, like where your pinky toe is kind of. And then we have the foam coming up, acting as a sidewall a little bit. This material is super supportive, like I mentioned. Here in the midfoot, we have the 3 stripes Adidas logo coming up, acting as a sidewall, which I think is really cool. It's functional and it looks really dope, right? And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter, it feels like. And also the foam seems to come up a little bit, acting as a sidewall too. So yeah, I mean, lateral containment feels like it's gonna be great. You know what I mean? So it feels like a very supportive shoe. And as far as the lateral stability goes, it feels all right. You know, Adidas shoes shoes, they usually make it very, very wide, right? Doesn't really seem to have like a crazy outrigger, but the midsole does protrude out just a tiny bit. I'm actually pretty curious which shoe is wider, the 4 or the 5. They're probably around the same though, right? It seems like the 4 is a little bit wider actually, which is pretty interesting, but I don't think there's gonna be any issues with lateral instability, right? And also my foot feels pretty locked down into the shoe. It doesn't really feel like I have any type of heel slippage or anything. So overall, support and lockdown feels very, very nice, right? Even it's a little too supportive in my personal opinion because the upper's too much, you know? And now moving on to the weight, it actually doesn't feel super heavy, which is pretty surprising. Yeah, 12.6 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 12.45 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So that's pretty much average weight. And it doesn't feel super heavy, right? And also doesn't feel like very bulky either, which of course is a good thing. That's like the problem that I have with Adidas shoes. They feel really, really bulky, right? But the upper feels so damn stiff and rigid that it overall doesn't feel as light as it should, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not really liking how it feels so far, and also the traction does not feel good either, so hopefully it'll be responsive, but we'll see on that, right? Moving on to the aesthetics, this is an amazing design. Whoever designed this did a great job. I love these, like the oval shapes in the upper and how they kind of like made everything kind of flow together really well, right? And I also really like this 3 stripes design here on the lateral and also on the medial side. I think it's a really cool minimalistic design as well, but also acts as a sidewall, which makes it functional too. So yeah, it's a great looking shoe. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, I don't know guys, I mean like I really want to like it, but there are a couple things that I don't like about it, which is like, you know, the traction's not feeling too good and the upper is feeling really, really stiff. But the support and lockdown, the fit, and also the cushion's feeling really, really good, you know? So we'll have to see. You know, of course, this is just the first impressions. My performance review will be coming soon, of course. And obviously the traction, we'll have to see on that. But I guess if the traction's really good, and if the upper breaks in a little bit and gets a little bit softer, then I'll probably like this shoe, you know what I mean? But of course, if the traction is not good, then I probably won't, right? But anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Don Issue 5. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the free link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.